What's up, ladies and gentle-tubers? It's Tyler from the eveRide channel. How's it going today? Today we're out here in the Badlands near my house. I'm gonna do a little trek. I wanted to bring you guys along and talk about the top 10 ways that I make money as a motorcyclist, riding a motorcycle. It's obviously not because I'm an English teacher anymore. Surprisingly enough, I was at one point.
Alright, so I'm going to interrupt myself here because this turned into a very long and very fun ride, which you can watch with all the commentary and original and all that stuff, all the details on the Raw channel by clicking the card above. But I want to give you this information as quickly as I can because it's a lot of information. But if you want the gritty details, you can go watch the full video on the Raw channel, or better yet, get the inside scoop with a patron-only video that I did, which is also fairly long and a little more boring, but it is packed with information. But anyway, long story short, I saw an article on Pinterest about how to make good money from doing motorcycle-related work. And some of the suggestions were pretty good, like renting your motorcycle or making deliveries. But some of them, most of them, were pretty much ludicrous, like becoming a motorcycle model or stunting or getting 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Well, I don't have the cup size to be a model. I'm too chicken for any stunts, and my YouTube channel is about 930,000 subscribers short of 1 million. But I actually do make a living by riding motorcycles and by doing motorcycle-related work that's not mechanical and that's not racing or sponsorship like that, because I'm slow. And that is what I'm sharing with you today. And some are really easy, some take an enormous amount of work, some I just got lucky with, but all of them are ways that I actually make a living. And I'm nothing special, so I really think anybody could do these things, whether it's just to make a few more bucks per month to sustain your motorcycling habit, your hobby, or to go full-time like I have. So, the 10th way that I make money is by selling photography and video clips to Adobe Stock. And I'm sure there are other companies, photography companies out there who you can sell your photographs and video clips to. Keep in mind that you don't have to sell clips or pictures of just motorcycles or motorcycling, but a motorcycle is an excellent vehicle that can get you to places where nobody else can get. And so it comes natural to somebody like me who rides a lot outdoors, off-road. Oh man. Okay, number 9 is actually from YouTube ads, and this doesn't make it very high on the list of how I make money because frankly YouTube AdSense is pretty ridiculous these days, so much so that I think it's hardly worth even signing up. If you say anything at all that Google or YouTube deems politically incorrect, they will demonetize your video. They'll make it so you can't run ads on it. They'll probably run their own ads on it, but anyway, as of this video, I get about 250,000 views monthly, which is a lot for me, but it's not a lot for others. And YouTube pays me about $400 for those 250,000 views. So that means that for each view, I get a little more than 1/10 of a cent, which is not enough to pay the bills, not even close. And I've been at this for like 5 years now. However, many of the other ways that I do make money are based on YouTube, so it's not a platform to ignore. Neither are any of the other social media platforms, especially Instagram, and I'll tell you why later. But for some of these to work, you are going to need an audience. Not 1 million subscribers, but you will need some people to listen to you. So how do you build an audience? Well, the only way that I know how, personally, is through a lot of hard work and by putting up the best content that you can out there to the world. Experts will give you tips and tricks to grow an audience and get viral videos, like cross-linking and using thumbnails and keywords and tags and stuff. But really, in my opinion, YouTube is just a slot machine, and you put in your time and energy, you pull the crank, and you rarely get anything back. Some people will hit the jackpot, and YouTube will promote them to the ends of the earth. But for most of us, it really is a daily grind of hard work and lots of editing and lots of research and basically feeding that YouTube beast for a long enough time with enough content that people will find you and start to pay attention to you. And hopefully you build a little subscriber base. There's a lot more information about YouTube out there, but this video isn't about that, so let's get on to the others. And frankly, if I were to do it all over again, I'd put a lot more effort into Instagram, where you can build a huge audience very quickly and get all the same perks of having a large YouTube channel with a fraction of the work, all the perks except for AdSense, which I've already pointed out is almost not even worth the effort of signing up. But Instagram's a good way to build a big audience and get a lot of eyeballs on, which sponsors like. However, it's not going to work for some of the other things that I talk about. Number 8 is from selling merchandise. It's been easy for me to put shirts up for sale. You can put a shirt up for sale on Spreadshirt or Teespring, and if you have some loyal followers, they might buy the shirt. However, it's pretty far down this list because merchandise sales seem to be a one-off thing. You might sell a lot of merchandise initially, but once your biggest fans already have one of your t-shirts or, little thinged doodads, they're not going to need a new one every single month. So while it does make money, it's difficult to rely on this for more than kind of a flash in the pan. Number 7 has worked pretty well for me. It's something that I probably should do more. And it's not based on YouTubing or having an audience, and that is flipping motorcycles. It will take some time and some research and perhaps some mechanical chops, but basically the gist of it is somewhere in your area somebody is selling a motorcycle for less than what it's worth. And your job is to find that motorcycle, buy it, fix it up, clean it meticulously, and then sell it for a profit. But be careful though, because you don't want to get stuck with a lemon and lose money. And number 6 is one of the suggestions on Pinterest, on that Pinterest article, and it's to rent your motorcycle or your motorcycles, if you have several, out to people when you're not using them. And this takes a minimal amount of marketing through Craigslist or local classifieds, and if you have an audience, they might be interested in renting your bikes and riding around where you ride. And one thing to look out for is insurance and liability. You need to have just a rock-solid waiver and a solid LLC and other legal protections so that if your renters are hurt for any reason while riding your motorcycle, they can't come after you legally, or at least they have a hard time coming after you legally. Because let's face it, guys, if you crash on a motorcycle, unless there's like severe negligence on maintenance-wise, it's your fault. So anyway, number 5 correlates nicely with actually motorcycle rentals, but it also requires all that legal mumbo-jumbo to operate safely. And that is to offer motorcycle tours to your guests, so you can show people, awesome trails and overlooks and ancient dinosaur tracks and petroglyph sites like I do. Or you could, if you live in a city, you can give them an inner city tour. You can do history tours, whatever. It just takes a little bit of an imagination. Even, if you're a decent rider and you know your stuff, you can offer brief riding classes. It's all doable. So that's another way. Number 4 is one that you have to be careful with, and it's such an enormous topic that it needs its very own video, and that is sponsorship. And it goes without saying that to actually get paid to promote products and not just get free stuff, that you will need a large audience. You will need a large audience. 2 tools that I use to find the worth of my social media presence are called Clout and Social Blue Book. And, I go into a lot more details on these on the Raw video and on the Patreon video, so you may want to check those ones out. Just a quick word of caution, though, about sponsorship is it really can suck the fun and the life out of riding a motorcycle or making motorcycling content. Basically, once you're on the payroll, they are in charge of your content, and politics isn't a fun game to play. The really rough part about sponsorship is if that's your primary source of income, if you're not making them happy, it's just another job. They can fire you, and generally they don't pay that well. Some do, and some sponsors of mine have been great. Obviously, the big RM on the side of my motorcycle, I love Rocky Mountain. They've been amazing sponsors, but a lot of other sponsors have been total crap, and they try to rip you off, and anyway, it's not a fun game to play. Number 3 is a bit of a surprise, and it's one that works really well with motorcycle rentals and tours if you're going to do those, and that is to rent space in your home for motorcycle travelers. You can use Airbnb, VRBO, classifieds, whatever, but generally people need a place to stay, and people don't always want to stay at a hotel. So you can rent your garage for them to sleep in if you want, but mainly, I was thinking for motorcycle storage, you know, because you don't want to go to a hotel and just park your bike outside and then have to haul all your stuff inside. So a garage is really valuable. So you can rent that. You can rent a fifth wheel, a tent trailer. You can rent a tent, just a tent, in your backyard or whatever. You can even rent a couch or a cot on the floor, or you could just be a good Samaritan and, you know, advertise out there and say, hey, come stay at my house for free. There's a lot of places that you could do that. I know you can do that on eveRide and stuff. It's just kind of a couch surfing thing, and that's a cool aspect of the community. However, if you are providing a nice place to stay, it's probably not a bad idea to charge for it. Number 2 has been a really critical element in going full-time for me, and that was affiliate sales. It basically paid all my bills and helped me start this whole thing for, you know, it's paid the bills for 3 years now. An affiliate account is really easy to set up with Amazon or Commission Junction or several other programs. However, they do require that you're getting sales and that you have kind of an audience. Otherwise, they'll just shut you down. So you do have to have a bit of an audience for this. Not a big one, but enough to get some sales. But how it works is that you put up a link to an item, and if people use that link to buy the item, then you get a portion of the sale. But the downside is that you need an audience so that people can actually see the link, and there are some really strict rules about sharing links. And if you break any of these rules, an affiliate program will basically just chew you up and spit you out. You know, if you want to see a sample of the links that I promote, that I make money from, check out the description and go to everide.org and look at the links that are there. And if you want to help the channel a little bit, go ahead and click them and buy something. Now, for the top way that I currently make money from riding motorcycles is from my amazing patrons. I call them my gentle deucers on Patreon. So it is through Patreon. Now, here's the thing. I am not a Patreon expert. I don't know all the ins and outs. But for some reason, there are about 300 really, really awesome people who appreciate the work that I put into my videos enough that they send a few dollars my way when I make one. So statistically, though, you know, here's the harsh truth about the number one here. For most channels and social media platforms, Patreon isn't a viable source of income. Even for my channel, where I put a ton of work making, you know, the best cinematics that I can, less than 0.5% of my audience is a patron. And my Patreon stats are actually some of the best out there. I'm actually not aware of another motovlogger who legally makes as much from Patreon as I do. So anyway, if you tried to create a successful Patreon income from low-quality posts, you know, just like from Instagram or from, you know, just little Facebook blurbs, or just, you know, pictures or little articles, or just, you know, scantily edited motovlogs like this one, then it's just not going to pan out. However, if you're writing really good articles or making really good videos or just doing stuff that's really engaging, then it'll probably work a little better. So if you want to give it a go, here are some tips that I think helped me to be successful on Patreon. Now, here's the thing. I could and I probably should make a whole other video about these because this is an enormous topic. But for now, just hang tight with these basics. The first thing that I did was promise that any patron-funded video would be professionally produced, whether that means informational or a brutally honest product review or a cinematic adventure video. Patrons on my channel know that if I post a video that is supported by patrons, it's going to be a video that I put a lot of work into. You know, we're talking anywhere from 60 to like 200, 300 hours of filming and research and writing and editing and writing, which is the good part, and all that stuff. So it's not something that just people just send you money for just doing nothing. I put a ton of work into my patron videos, which this one was because the patrons got a lot bigger video with more information, but this one right here is just kind of pared down. Secondly, I try to give back with really good personal perks. I've sent out stickers and keychains and private letters, and unfortunately I get some of those back from insufficient postage, which just crushed me, but I'm still trying to get those out. But I've also sent out free shirts and let patrons stay in my home for free, let them ride my motorcycles for free, free tours, sent them free stuff. But I think the most important thing that you can do is communications. Recently, I haven't been able to answer every comment and message, that's been sent my way through YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all that. There are thousands of them. But if a patron sends a message to me through Patreon, I am guaranteed to answer. I will answer. And if I don't, I want them to leave my Patreon because I'm a jerk. So basically, my patrons have access to me personally for any questions and discussions and thoughts and comments and ideas, whether that's family problems, bike issues, depression issues, whatever they need. They have my undivided attention, and they deserve it because they work hard to make the money, and they send some of that money to me. So I, in turn, work hard to respond to every message they send to me. I am their customer service when it comes to motorcycle riding. And I can't give that to everybody. I can't give that to all the people who send messages on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. But for patrons, I absolutely will. And third is I try to be completely real and honest with my patrons. I share my ups and my downs, my personal issues, my successes, everything. They get a lot of behind-the-scenes information that not many people see, and even my wife gets jealous sometimes because I share more about what's going on with my patrons than I share with her. And that's not, that's because she's connected to my life, and I don't feel like I should tell her, or I need to tell her everything because she's right here with me. But I do tell my patrons a lot. I'm brutally honest with them, pretty much to a fault, because sponsors probably, it probably costs me sponsorships, but I am brutally honest about products and motorcycles and everything with my patrons. And fourth is to not overdo it. I think it really turns an audience off when every single bit of content becomes a plea for support through Patreon or through donations or whatever. I've seen channels crumble because their creator turned everything about the channel, the content, the descriptions, the end cards, everything, all about donations or merchandise or Patreon. And nobody wants to, people want to watch your videos or your content about motorcycles or about whatever you create. People don't want to watch content about how you need money and how they should support you on Patreon and stuff like that. Now, obviously, in this case, I'm teaching you how to, use Patreon. So I'm trying not to overdo it. But anyway, a better way to go than to continually ask for patronage is to sincerely thank patrons when they help you to produce content. They are, after all, making your videos possible, and for me, I continually feel a debt to them for making this dream of riding motorcycles for a living come true for me. So thank your patrons, and by thanking them in your content, then you're reminding others that Patreon does exist and that it's a great way to support future creations for you. So on that note, I really do want to thank my patrons for making this video and every other video that you've seen since April of 2016, whether patron funded or not, possible. Eventually, though, I'd like to reduce reliance on Patreon and rely more on other motorcycle-related income streams that I've talked to you about, and some that I have yet to discover. So stay tuned. Go ahead and subscribe, and if you want to see more details about how I make money or ask me any detailed questions about it, you can ask me questions about my budget, my earnings, my debts, whatever, then let me know through a message on Patreon. I will get back to you. So that's one of the perks there. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and much love to you all. eveRide out.